Resistance.
What's up, everyone? This is TinMan with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. And welcome to TinMan TV. Yes, everyone, this is TinMan TV. I, of course, am your host, the Tin Man, Chris Sheldon with the Worldwide Resistance Network, the White Rabbit, taking you down the damn rabbit hole. And first and foremost, I do want to apologize for starting a half hour late. We were having some technical difficulties. And basically, nothing wanted to work this morning, but we finally managed to get things going and get everything up and running. So, with that being said, let me introduce to you the fictitious Monster Blue, the fictitious product that doesn't actually exist, because we are of the people, by the people, for the people. We are not funded by APAC or any corporate sponsors. This is by the people, of the people, for the people. So if you like these transmissions, share the live feeds, follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, all at REALTWWRN. Also, check out our online store at RealTWWRN.printify.me. Tons of great merchandise there. Hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs, you name it. All for super low prices. Again, that's RealTWWRN.printify.me. And, of course, last but not least, feel free to join in the conversation. Comments are now enabled. Welcome to the show. Feel free to share your thoughts, opinions, information, and become a part of the show. Because again, this is of the people, by the people, for the people, and it's probably one of the only, if not the only political podcast you will find that includes you in the conversation. Whereas most shows will have a hotline number where you can call in. Nah, we just say, fuck it, come be a part of the show. So, if you have any thoughts, opinions, information, or you just want to be a dick and troll me, cool. Feel free to jump in the comments section. And with that, let's get the ball rolling. Today's topic is, of course, Donald Trump continues to flip-flop on the Iranian conflict. And there's some big news on that front. How the Iran war could drive a historic hunger crisis, which I'm going to get into in a minute here. As well, Europe is accelerating a NATO fallback plan in case Trump pulls out. It's actually a lot bigger than that, ladies and gentlemen. We pretty much have a very piss-poor relationship with NATO at this point, and I will not argue that I am perfectly fine with this idea. NATO should have fallen with the Berlin Wall because that's what NATO was for. NATO was only ever in place to protect Europe and its allies against the Soviet Union at the end of World War II. The Soviet Union is gone. It has been gone since the early 90s when the Berlin Wall fell. So by proxy, NATO should have been dissolved because the official plan was get NATO away from communism, get NATO away from China, and make them an ally, which is the smart move. You want the two biggest nuclear superpowers on the planet to have an alliance. That way they can't be pitted against each other by smaller countries, such as what we're seeing now. Because that's what it is. A bunch of smaller countries start a bunch of shit and then run behind their allies, whether it be the U.S. or Russia, and go, oh, you can't do anything to me, or else you're going to have to face cousin United States or cousin Russia. No. So I firmly agree. We need to get the fuck out of NATO. NATO needs to be gone. It needs to be dissolved. It needs to be a a minor footnote in human history and just be forgotten. And the United States and Russia need to form an alliance, dissolving all other alliances and looking at the rest of the world and going, okay, this little game of yours of pitting us against each other is over. It's time everybody sit down and fucking learn to get along or pop a spank. Okay? And I'm not saying threaten with nuclear war, threaten all annihilation. No, that's unethical. That's wrong. That's terrorism. That's war crimes. That's a whole mess of problems. But what I am saying is, if you have mom and pop on the same page, the children aren't going to be as keen to act up as they were when they could run and hide behind mom or pop and have mom and pop pitted against each other. It's not so easy. And I keep harping on Trump to do this, but he doesn't seem to listen. He seems to want to brown nose Israel and tongue punch BB shit and Yoo-Hoo's fart box constantly, to the point that it's just overwhelmingly ridiculous. And on that note, we're just continuing in this freaking war that Israel drug us into. And I'm not saying anything against Israel as a country. Nothing anti-Semitic here. It's just you have a corrupt government that the Israeli people strongly oppose that is putting ideas out there that are putting a bullseye on the Jewish people's back, not just with the war in Iran, but the whole anti-Semitism thing. I was just watching on InfoWars as we were trying to get this set up. They were talking about there was a lot of I wouldn't even know what you would call it. Anti-Semitism laws. And I'm trying to find it right now. But apparently there's some pushback. Okay, I think I just found it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and show some of these here. I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the InfoWars feed here. Sorry, again, we were having technical difficulties this morning, so we're just kind of having to do a workaround here, so do bear with us.
Proposed anti-Semitism laws in France and Italy stir free speech country. If it was illegal to time, Zelensky has now signed a law. Most of these are from the last day or so, but we do go back to like January, as humanly possible. And the result of all of this is that all around the world, anti-Semitism laws are being passed on the basis of the IHRA. And in connection with all of the other surveillance and censorship campaigns going on, like digital ID, mandatory ID to get on the internet, protecting people who are under 18, despite the fact that Europe isn't even really having children. They're passing all of these laws to protect the innocent children, not from, being assaulted by migrants, but from like seeing news about assaults by migrants, because you have to cover up the consequences of your policy if you want the policy to continue and the outcome is negative. And so these are all from just most of these are from the last day or so, but we do go back to like January for Australia. But all at the same time, Macron is to host a call with EU leaders on social media ban for minors. French President Emmanuel Macron will host a video call with other EU leaders and European Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen to push a coordinated approach to banning social media for minors, Macron's office said Tuesday. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and representatives of Italy, the Netherlands, and Ireland will attend the conference call along with others on Thursday, Macron's office said, adding that the final list of attendees will be announced later. The main goal is to act in a coordinated manner and push the European Commission, in the positive sense of the term, to move ahead at the same pace as member states, a presidential aide told reporters. So, again, we've talked about this endlessly. You do not need the government or big tech to determine whether or not your children get on the internet. That should be the responsibility of the parents. It's only when parents abandon that responsibility that suddenly you need daddy government to step in and dictate whether or not you can look at something. But that's obviously not the point.
Now, this is all talking about the UK, but I was not able to find it. Maybe after, maybe before that segment, but he was talking about an issue in California where there were anti-Semitism laws, and there's already been some pushback regarding that. You also have most prevalent the anti-Semitism laws in Florida. That's stirred a lot of issues there. And it comes back down to the age-old question. Who, under a dictatorship, who are you penalized for criticizing? Who are you not allowed to, by law, to criticize? Okay? If you want to know who your enemy is, find out who you're not supposed to criticize. And it just goes to show this war with Iran. Trump has got his head up Bibi shitting Yoo-hoo's ass. And again, nothing against the Israeli people. Most of the Israeli people hate Bibi Netanyahu. He's got piss poor approval ratings in Israel. He's getting his people killed. He's getting targets put on their back with all this anti-Semitism and control shit. It's like, oh, we're influencing all states, but you cannot point out that we're controlling and influencing these countries in the United States, or it's anti-Semitism. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, if it were any other country, if it were any other foreign power meddling in the United States, in our financial system, in our media, in our government, in our financial institutions, in our foreign and domestic policies, it'd be all out fucking war. But considering it's Israel, talking about it as anti-Semitic. What? Get fucked. Okay? And even the Israeli people are sick of this shit. Even the Jewish people in the United States and in these countries are sick of it. They're like, dude, you're putting a bullseye on our fucking backs. We just want to live our fucking lives. And your actions are making us look like an enemy. Again, it goes back to Joshua 7 in the Old Testament. They just got done at the Battle of Jericho. God said to either destroy everything or put it in the storehouse. Well, somebody kept the spoils of war. Achan, or however it's pronounced, took spoils of war. And God said, okay, I'm going to wipe out all you motherfuckers. And Israel's like, whoa, dude, what did we do? We did everything you said. Well, asshole over here's got spoils of war in his house. And Israel was like, what? And they went over there and fucked his shit up. Okay, read Joshua chapter 7. It's the events that took place right after the fall of Jericho in the battle. Okay? And it's the same thing here. You've got a small handful of people that are fucking it up for the Jewish community as a whole. And I'm strongly opposed to that. So don't call me anti-Semitic, otherwise you can suck my dick and buy me a milkshake. I like strawberry milkshakes, by the way. So, that being said, if anything, I'm supporting the Jewish people. I'm supporting the country of Israel by opposing the people that are making lives hard for the Jewish people. Okay? I'm all for deposing somebody who's making life hard for the Jewish people. I've got friends and family who are Jewish. I don't want them to be victims of that shit. Because the Netanyahus, the Rothschilds, the Epsteins, and all that want to be assholes. Okay? So it's not anti-Semitic to say there's a handful of assholes pretending to be Jews who are fucking it up for the Jewish people. Okay? I'm going to fucking say that loud and clear. Okay? If anything, that is as pro-Israel and pro Judaism as you can fucking get without becoming a fucking Jew yourself. Okay? And I'll die on that fucking hill if I have to. Man. Fucking bullshit. But what is it all about? What does it really come down to? A mark of the beast, Antichrist, surveillance and control system. Okay, you want to know what we're talking about? Go watch The Hunger Games. Go watch Divergent. I think Angel Studios has got their own version of The Hunger Games coming out. I just saw a trailer for that last night. Where they get a bunch of people in an arena, a bunch of tributes, and have them fight it out in an arena. Okay? And you look at the poverty that people are living in. It's like looking at old school communism from back in the day. And, you know, they're living impoverished. Everything they do and say is controlled. Okay? And you have this mark on your hand or your forehead to where you can't buy or sell without it. And in order to get it, you have to worship the beast. And if you don't, then they kill you. It's like, okay, read your Bible. Okay? And for those Christians who think, oh, well, I'm just going to get raptured out, so I'm not going to have to deal with it. Consider this, ding-dongs. Okay? If you look at history, the notion of the rapture didn't even come around and become a popular notion in Christendom until the mid to late 1800s. Okay? Now, what does that mean? Okay? One, it wasn't a part of the theology at all. Okay? I don't think it's even a part of the Ethiopian theology based on the Ethiopian Bible that has 88 books in contrast to your 66 books. Okay, but I digress. Okay, once I get to that part, I'll let you know. But as far as I'm to understand, the concept of the rapture was a Cliff Notes thing that was incorporated into Christendom in the mid to late 1800s. And now, which leads me to my next point here. All these Christians are waiting for the rapture. They know it's the end of days, and they're thinking, oh, well, what does it matter? It's not going to affect me. Bullshit. Okay? Do you ever stop to consider and look at history and go, oh, hey, this notion didn't even exist till the late 1800s. Why is that? Why is it now being propagated and pushed? Because it's bullshit. Because it's straight up fucking bullshit. Okay? What better way to dupe civilization than to bring in this new fucking God and nobody's getting raptured out? Okay, you have the Antichrist and the mark of the beast system coming into place, and everybody's like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be here for this. I'm supposed to be raptured. What the heck's going on? How many Judeo mainstream Christians are going to lose faith in what they have believed because God didn't bust out the vacuum cleaner and suck them all up into the sky in this rapture? Okay? How many people are going to lose their faith and just go, okay, maybe this guy is really the God, and the Bible was bullshit, and I'm just going to go with that? How many people are going to fall for that? Okay? How many people are going to fall for that long, drawn-out deception? Think, guys. Okay? And if you want more validity to this statement, I know a lot of people are probably going to get pissed at me, but think about it. Okay? Christ comes to rule on the earth. He doesn't have 2 second comings. Okay? He's not going to come and rescue you and then take you up to heaven only to come back 6 years, 3.5, whether it be 7 years or 3.5 years later. Okay? He's going to come back. He's going to open a can of whoop ass. He's going to throw the Antichrist and the false prophet into the pit, and he's going to reign on earth for 1,000 years. That's right in the Bible. That's right in the Old Testament. and the book of Revelations. It's all there. It's all prophesied. The Messiah returns, opens a can of whoop ass, and then reigns on earth for 1,000 years. Okay? If all the Christians are all white, are all up in heaven, and then during the tribulations and the 7-year period, God wipes out all of the sinners with the bowls of his wrath and the trumpets and all that, who's he going to rule over on earth? Oh, he's going to bring all these people back. Well, that's kind of an oxymoron. Okay? And you really think that every Christian on earth is really freaking soldier material? I mean, what about the little kids? What about the babies? Okay? Okay, they're going to be magically grown up. Okay, quote scripture and tell me where that's a thing. Okay, tell me where that is a factor in this. Come on. Okay? Plus, everybody thinks, oh, we're going to be in heaven. We're going to be in heaven. We're going to be in heaven. Okay? God says, after his 1,000-year reign, Satan will be loosed to tempt people for a time, and then the final battle will begin. The old heaven and the old earth will pass away. Hell will be cast into the lake of fire, and everything will be made anew and perfect as it was in the original design. At which point, heaven and earth, I believe, if I'm interpreting this correct, heaven and earth, the new heaven and the new earth, the old heaven and the old earth will pass away. New heaven and new earth will be like one paradise thing. And God and his people will be together forever, right? I mean, it wouldn't make sense to have God in heaven and the people on earth, or God on earth and the people chilling in heaven. I mean, it really wouldn't make any sense, okay? Let's look at this logically. Okay, so the rapture, by reason, would most likely just be a deception to trick people into believing the Antichrist and abandoning Christianity because they weren't raptured out. Okay, it just makes sense. And you look at the hard times that we're going to be facing in this. You know, we've already got wars and rumors of wars. You look at the economic hardships. Again, let's go back to the article that I was referencing before. Where the hell did my mouse go? Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go back to this article here, because this is really important. How the Iran war could drive a historic hunger crisis. Acute hunger threatens 45 million if the conflict extends into June. A roadmap from the Ukraine war could contain the humanitarian fallout. Okay? Now, this is global health, and it's probably focusing majorly on Europe. Okay? Because there's already a big problem there with the farming and everything going on there. You see the protests and whatnot, farmers using equipment and truckers using equipment, their trucks to block roads. And specifically in Ireland, as of yesterday, we've seen that farmers and truckers using their equipment to bring the economy to a halt in protest to a lot of the shit that's going on there. And of course, Ireland had already brought in a lot of Middle Easterners to serve as police force because the Ireland natives aren't going to turn on their own. But if you bring outsiders, it's a field day. But I'm not going to count out the Irish on that. I am not going to count out the Irish. Hey, the Irish and the Scots, they ain't gonna lie down quietly. We've already seen that. There's too much red blood there. Okay, there's too much boiling red blood there. They like a lot of these people even like to fight. So you want to fight, you're going to get it, guys. But you look at the rest of Europe, and you even look at what's happening in the United States. Could easily happen here. How much farmland has that creep Bill Gates bought up in order to shut down farming and poultry supplies and beef supplies in favor of his bioengineered crap that he's masquerading as food? Okay? I mean, come on, guys. It's like, oh, we have a food shortage here. Eat the bugs. Fuck you, Bill Gates. Dude, I am surprised. You know, with all the people that are pissed off at the globalists and whatnot, now unpopular Bill Gates is. I'm honestly surprised nothing has happened to him yet. And again, I'm not advocating for violence in any capacity, but we've already seen assassination attempts on Donald Trump. I'm honestly surprised, you know, given that Gates is vastly more hated than Trump could ever be. And honestly, I think Trump's trying to go for a world record on how many people he can get to hate him. But in contrast between the two, I think Bill Gates takes the cake in terms of how many people hate him. So, I mean, given that Trump had assassination attempts on his life, I'm honestly surprised Bill Gates hasn't had any on his. I'm honestly surprised. Again, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm not saying to go out and do anything violent to any given person. I'm just a bit perplexed. And I'm making an observation based on the fact that I'm perplexed. I mean, people hate this asshole. Again, like the same with Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. I'm honestly surprised that there haven't been uprisings. But then again, you know, nothing against the Jewish people, but most Jewish people tend to be pacifists and not even really passive aggressive. They're just people, they want to just live their lives. They're very chill people. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That just, you know, not everybody is let's get drunk and whoop somebody's ass. Okay, and not everybody's like that. They're very chill, relaxed people for the most part. But I also understand that a person could only be pushed so far. And to that end, let's shift back to the United States. You got a lot of these anti-Semitism laws and whatnot, and there's even pushback in California regarding one of their anti-Semitism laws. And that's what really concerns me, is you have all these anti-Semitism laws, you have the prospect of civil war that's still looming because of John Podesta and his Civil War plan. Don't think they forgot about that, guys. That's not been pushed to the back burner. That's still there, and I think they're just waiting for the right time. Now, you think about this conflict with Iran, and Russia and China are Iran's allies. Trump keeps bullshitting and saying, oh, we may be days away from a deal. Not if you don't have a leash on Netanyahu and the Israeli government and their military. They're going to keep going. They want greater Israel. Bibi Netanyahu does not want to go to prison for his war crimes, so he needs to stay in power. Ergo, he needs to continue a conflict. Okay, it is in his, quote, best interest to keep a conflict going, or else he's going to fucking jail. Okay, you need to put a cap on this. You need to put these motherfuckers on a leash. You need to pull back and say, okay, We're only giving you enough money and enough weapons to defend yourself. Force the Israeli government and the Israeli military into a defensive posture to where they cannot go on the offensive. Okay? And maybe even if you have to, do a damn regime change in Israel. Okay? We've had enough problems with these guys. The Israeli people don't like them. Have a regime change. I'm sure the Israeli people would be most happy if you did. Okay? Do a regime change. Dial back on the aid to where Israel can only defend itself, to where it's only in the defensive posture and cannot go on the offense. And then have your fucking deal. Okay? Okay? Defang the snake before you let your kids play with it. Come on. Man, common sense shit here. Okay, you want the conflict to end. Israel wants the conflict. Everybody else does not want the conflict. Okay? Nip the problem in the butt, dude. Come on. Stop kissing butt and start nipping it in the butt. And then get these motherfuckers out of our government and out of our institutions and break the system of control they have on our foreign and domestic policy and our government and our financial systems and media as a whole. Get them out. Okay? Okay, this is America. We should not be working for the interests of a foreign power, and they should not be having any influence or control over our foreign and domestic policy and so on and so forth, okay? That's interference in a government by a foreign power, and if it were anybody else, they'd have gotten their ass spanked a long time ago. So cut the shit, Trump. Okay? You want to make America great again? Get Israel on a leash, dial back, and force Israel into a militarily defensive posture to where they cannot go on the offense. Make your deal with the Iranians, seal the deal with a kiss, and be done with it before the Rothschilds and the globalists cream their pants as they watch an economic collapse and America burn. Okay, and that's what really concerns me here, because if this carries on, Russia's already pissed off because of the Ukraine thing and now the Iran issue. It always seems to center back to Russia for some stupid fucking reason. Okay, why? Because Russia is the second nuclear superpower. And at which point, if this war carries on, Russia's already pissed off. The United States fights to the point of economic collapse. Russia can just swoop in when we're at our lowest point and kick the living shit out of us. And where are they going to hit first, guys? They're going to hit the West Coast. They're going to hit Hawaii. They're going to hit California and Washington. Okay? Those are the first prime targets, whether by a militant force of boots on the ground, planes or ships, or even nuclear weapons. Okay? That's going to be the shortest distance between 2 points. Okay? It's going to be Russia to the West Coast. And at which point, if California, no, not California, if the United States is caught up in a civil war, because you think about, we're fighting in Iran, and then a civil war breaks out because of the John Podesta plan, because nobody's presently paying attention to that. That sparks off. You got a war on two fronts. Russia could easily swoop in. And California and Washington are going to be California, Washington, and Hawaii are going to be the first to fall. Okay, because you figure in a civil war scenario, if it's going to be red states against blue states, we've already discussed this, that the map just geographically doesn't work. I mean, before you had the North versus South, there were pretty well cut lines. Here, you've got states that are isolated and surrounded by red states, okay? Supply lines, fucked. As if there would be any supply lines. Because you look at places like California, and like with most Democratic areas, they've greatly cut back on their agriculture because, oh God, cows, God forbid cow farts. Okay, they've greatly cut back on their agriculture, and they have next to no industrial. Okay, so there's really going to be nothing there for them to really hold their own, let alone establish supply lines to their allied states that are, for the most part, surrounded. Okay, plus you got the majority of the military who are probably Republican, who occupied the bases in Democratic states. Okay, it's just kind of an oxymoron. And California being right there on the West Coast, again, if Russia decides they're going to make a move in this instance, California and Washington are going to be the first to fall. They're totally fucked. Okay? Because you've got the Civil War aspect, you've got you got limited agriculture, limited industrial. Most of your industrial is probably going towards the war effort in Iran. Okay? And then you secede from the Union, you really ain't got nothing. Then you've got the migrant issue from Mexico, which will kick up like a firestorm. And then you'll have the Republicans to the east, Russians to the west, Mexico to the south, California, Washington are totally fucked, dude. You know, especially if Russia just goes, okay, let's just go nuclear war, which is going to happen if Israel decides they're going to use nukes, because they're already talking about it. They're already creaming their pants at the idea. They're laughing at the idea. Hey, yeah, let's go nuclear war. Let's just obliterate Iran. And then Trump, with his whole, oh, you either take the peace deal in 48 hours or you'll cease to exist. His little fucking annihilation tweet didn't help matters. Okay? If Russia decides to get involved, or if Israel decides to jump the gun and do to suit themselves and launch nukes, Russia's going to launch nukes at Israel. Israel's going to be completely obliterated. Okay, Israel can't win. Okay, I hate to break it to you, Israel, but you're on a suicide mission. You cannot fucking win, especially if you go nuclear war. Your best bet, just take a fucking deal and just sit down and shut up. Okay, because there's no winning this. The Iranians are not going to fucking back down. If you go to nuclear war, Russia and China are going to obliterate Israel. Israel's going to cease to exist. It's going to be a smoking crater. Forget your third temple, because there's going to be nothing left to build on. It's going to be Israel is going to be a radioactive ashtray for the next 1,000 years. Okay? So get this notion out of your head. Okay? You're not going to win it. And then, if the United States decides to retaliate, then Russia is going to attack the United States, and they're going to start with the West Coast, because that's the closest, most direct line of attack. Russia and China. Okay, what did we say before? What the shortest distance between any two points is a straight line. It's a straight shot to Hawaii from Russia and China, for Russia and China. It's a straight shot to California and Washington. Okay? And next thing you know, especially if we're caught up in a civil war, next thing you know, you got mushroom clouds popping up all over the place, and you're like, holy shit. Okay, so you got economic collapse, civil war, agricultural and industrial, virtually in California. And then you got the prospect of being the first to fall in a nuclear holocaust or a Russian attack because you're the closest to them. Seriously, this ain't Beverly Hillbillies anymore. California is not the place you ought to be. So you better load up and get the fuck out of Beverly Hills, that is. Palisade fires and corrupt governors. The not so Beverly Hillbillies. Seriously. And I harp to my friends and my family about this all the time because I got friends and family out there. I'm just like, dude, get the fuck out and don't argue with me. It's like, oh, well, I got this going on. I got this going on. I'm like, well, what good is it going to be if you're dead? What good is it going to school if you're dead? Or staying and taking care of a family member, or because you got a job, or you've got this business going, okay? In-N-Out Burger got the fuck up out of Dodge and opened up business out of state. Okay? If you're going to school, you can transfer to another school. Okay? If you're taking care of a family member or something, okay, you can move out, or you can move to another area that, might be a little more safe for you. Especially considering, the most of my family and a great many of my friends happen to be white. I do got some friends and family who are Latino. I've got some friends who are black. Okay, I've got a diverse. There's much diversity for the company I keep, but still, for the white ones, the white friends and family. Okay, civil war, a race-based civil war where the whites are the enemy in an area that is predominantly Latino, black, and Asian, and you only make up like 32% of the state's population. It's not very good odds, guys. Come on. I understand you may have shit going on, but at the end of the day, you really got to ask, if shit pops off, is it worth your life? Is it worth being stuck there because you can't get out in an economic collapse or a civil war scenario? Is it worth dying for because of a race-based civil war? I mean, come on, guys. Think. In-N-Out Burger knew it was stupid to stay there. Follow suit. A lot of people have already left California for good reason. And there's a lot of other states who are booming with business. And you can do a lot better, especially with the way prices are in California. Trust me. Staying is just to your detriment. Just anybody in California, whether I know you or not, staying in California is bad news bears. It's not good juju. Okay, it is to your detriment, and it could very well reach the point where if it got to the point where you'd have no choice but to leave, but you probably wouldn't be able to get out because of a civil war scenario or economic collapse and inability to get out. I mean, you've already got gas shortages in California. They're shutting off the pumps. Okay? Y'all could be fucking stuck there. As of right now, y'all could be fucking stuck. Think! Please, for the love of God, think. Okay? I don't want anything bad to happen to my friends and family in California. And if by chance you manage to survive, which I doubt most will, when you make up 32% of the population, that's not good odds, guys. But even if you did manage to survive, those cities are going to be the first to embrace a mark of the beast surveillance control system, because they're going to be broken. Those states are going to be broken. The people are going to be broken. And they're going to take any solution. And when that mark of the beast communist system comes into play, that communist surveillance system, coffin apartment is going to look pretty fucking sweet. With all your appliances spying on you. Yeah. Social credit scores, all that. Yeah, it's going to look real sweet in contrast to feudal warlords fighting up over and dividing up territories within these areas. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is just not good. Donald Trump really needs to wake up. I don't know who the hell has got his head in a box and is controlling what information this dude hears, but dude needs to break out of the box and start really paying attention to what's going on and see where this is really going, because it's not helping his approval ratings. It's not helping his economic recovery. It's not helping drain the swamp. So unless he is a complicit, willful participant in this, he needs to bust out of the box that the people surrounding him have put him in and do a complete 180 on some shit. And he's done some, like getting rid of Spam Bundy. That was a joyous day for me. That was a joyous day for me. And that made me so happy. Hate that bitch. Fuck that bitch. So, but all we can do right now is just continue to appeal to Trump. But I mean, because there's going to be no way he's going to be able to avoid it. He already heard that there's been backlash about his freaking image of him posing as Jesus. And he's tried to fucking gaslight, saying that, oh, he thought he was a doctor. Come the fuck on, dude. That is the weakest form of gaslighting and bullshitting I have ever seen in my life. Like, seriously. What part of that get up makes you think that it's in any semblance a doctor? White and red robes like what Jesus wears, Old Testament type stuff, not a modern doctor's coat and scrubs. No. Okay. I understand the model of dazzle them with brilliance or baffle them with bullshit, but come on, dude. That's more than a stretch, bro. Oh, I thought it made me look like a doctor. Really, dude? Really, Trump? Okay. I guess we got to add a new one to the list. We have Christian Jesus, Mormon Jesus, Black Jesus, White Jesus, Adult Jesus, Baby Jesus, Santa Christ. Now we've got Orange Jesus. Let's add that to the list. Let's add Orange Jesus to the list. Trump thinking he's Orange Jesus. I'm good. Make a shirt. I gotta make a product out of that. Fuck yeah. Orange Jesus! Orange Jesus product line coming soon, maybe. I don't know. But I haven't seen what I can come up with here. Let me see what I can come up with, because this could be fun. This could be interesting. Orange Jesus product. An Orange Jesus product line. Okay. I coined the phrase. I said it first, guys. Okay, don't even anybody try to capitalize on that shit. That's all me right there. I said it first. I fucking said it first. So yeah. Keep an eye out because maybe you'll see some Orange Jesus merchandise at the TWWRN store. Speaking of which, go ahead and what the hell? Why is that not open? Ah! What am I doing? Oh no! See, these technical issues got me so off my fucking game. What in the unholy mother of SpaghettiOs? All right, here we go. So, speaking of the online store, let's go ahead. I'll give you guys a little peek at what we got here. Nothing but fun shit. Nothing but fun shit. Okay. Tons of great products. T-shirts, posters, stickers. Okay. These are by far right now our most popular. If the prices go up, they go up. Sticker sheet. You got 4 stickers per sheet. All for the low price of $9.99. Okay. More than that, you got the Trump Apologist Network shirts, Truth is Louder Than Bullets, Charlie Kirk Memorial shirts. Tons of great merchandise, shirts, hats, your No Kings, anti-protest shirts, the classic TWWRN shirts, like what I and Reverend wear, hats, thermoses, mugs, shot glasses, cell phone cases, bumper stickers, and so much more to come. And we also got the Toilet Paper USA. And so that'd be like the last thing I want to point out. Yeah, you got the Trump pulling the I'm Jesus thing and then backtracking, trying to pretend he's a doctor. But then you look at Turning Point USA, they're still pushing their shit. Trump's still pushing their shit. And Erica Kirk, she is so vastly unpopular. She had a venue with J.D. Vance and she canceled. Despite Secret Service being there, she canceled for fear of her life because apparently she's so unpopular. She's been getting death threats. Like, seriously? I mean, when you look at what happened, Charlie Kirk was all about keeping us out of war with Iran. He wasn't taking the AIPAC money. He was very outspoken about this. He was trying to keep Trump on the right path. And now everything that Turning Point USA was about did a total 180 after Kirk died. Okay, that alone just destroys your credibility. And I don't understand where Erica Kirk thought that doing the exact opposite of what made Charlie famous was actually going to be anything other than a huge flop, causing the whole organization to just go. I mean, come on. Turning Point USA, I would have to say, is more Turning Propagandist USA. Or as I just like to call it, Toilet Paper USA. Again, you can get that shirt at the REALTWWRN.printify.me, along with tons of other great merchandise. But in closing to that, J.D. Vance still spoke. And the most of that whole stadium was empty. Like, they could have seriously gone a smaller venue at that point because it was practically empty. There was I think maybe they only filled like a quarter of the seats. I mean, come on. Turning Point USA has really lost their credibility. And Trump, if he thinks that pushing Turning Point USA and everything he's doing is going good for him and his efforts to recover the economy and everything else, Bro, you really need a wake-up call. You really need to take a step outside, look the fuck around, and see what's really going on. You need to just turn off the TVs, tune out your fucking buddies who are feeding you bullshit, and just really open your eyes, get a good night's sleep, and look at things with a fresh set of eyes and just really look around and see what's going on. Because if you are on the side of the American people, or you think you're on the side of the American people, and Jones's notion is correct that you're just being fed that information because you're surrounded by bad people and trusted the wrong people, then you need a serious wake-up call, bro. Get a good night's sleep, and then take a look with fresh eyes and see what's really going on, and see who your real friends are and allies are, and where all this is really going. Because the way things are going right now, it ain't good. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that's really all I got for today. Again, I apologize for the late start and this podcast being somewhat of a clusterfuck, but we made it. And that's what counts. And I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in today. It's a weekday. I understand people work, but we're here regardless. So thank you for everybody that tuned in. Thank you for everybody who shares the live feeds. As always, if you like these podcasts, share the live feeds. Check out our online store, REALTWWRN.printify.me. And as always, it costs nothing to like and subscribe our pages. So follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN. Again, share those live feeds, help the information get out there, and keep the conversation going. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear your opinions. And even if we're off air, we'll still interact. We'll still conversate with you. That's one of our big staples, is that we'll actually engage with you. Because we are the Worldwide Resistance Network. We are of the people, by the people. So we're going to engage with you. So, on that note, I'm putting the turkey in the oven. This is the Tin Man, Chris Sheldon, with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. Stay strong, stay safe, and God bless you all, my brothers and sisters. Peace out.